Welcome to Coach Taylor's class videos. Today we're going to talk about our 1.3 notes, solving inequalities. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go over and remind ourselves of our inequality symbols. So if I have right here, I've got a symbol going to the left. This is going to be our less than symbol. If it's got the line underneath it, that tells us that it is less than or equal to. And if the arrow's pointing to the right, that's greater than. And then again, if we've got the line underneath, we add the or equal to. So greater than or equal to. And so those are our four signs that we need to be aware of. The other thing that we need to know is if they want us to graph on a number line, if it's just less than or greater than, so that's going to be our less than or our greater than symbol, we're going to have an open circle. Whereas if it's less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, we need to fill in our circle all of the way. And then once we fill in our circle all the way, we're just going to draw an arrow, whatever direction our arrow of our sign is pointing to. So when we solve our inequalities, they are the exact same steps that when we solve equations, except for this step C right here. So we're going to go through some examples where we solve them and kind of show you how we do it. So again, the first step for us is we need to find the constant of our equation. If we remember, the constant is the number that is all by itself. So in this problem, our constant is -3. It does not have a variable. It is all by its lonesome. So our first step is going to be to switch the sign. So we're going to change it to +3. I'm still going to draw my line down the middle where my equal sign usually is, but in this case, it's our inequality. What I do to one side, I must do to the other. And then the last part of this step is to bring the variable term down. So I'm going to bring the 5x here. My 3's cancel. I'm going to rewrite my inequality sign, which is greater than, and then 7 plus 3 is 10. So now we go and we look at our next step. So we need to find our coefficient. So in this case, the coefficient is the number in front of the letter, which is 5, and I need to do the opposite. Anytime I have a number next to a letter, that means multiply. So the opposite is to divide. So my 5's cancel. I bring my variable term down. I rewrite my inequality sign, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. Now, if I were to graph this on a number line, because it's a greater than symbol, so let's go 0, 1, 2, 3. So because it's a greater than symbol, I would use an open circle. So I'd put an open circle where 2 is on the number line. And then because it's greater, I would follow the arrow of the inequality sign, and that's the direction my arrow is going to go on my number line. So again, that's how we work that. So now let's look at 3 examples real quick. So again, first step is I need to find my constant. My constant is the number that is not next to a letter. If there is no negative sign, that automatically tells me that it's positive. I need to flip the sign. I'm going to draw a line through my inequality. What I do to one side, I must do to the other. My 9's are going to cancel. I'm going to bring my variable term down. So I have 5x. I'm going to copy my inequality symbol, which is greater than or equal to. 19 minus 9 gets me 10. Now I need to find my coefficient. My coefficient is the number in front of the variable. I need to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. My 5's cancel. I bring my variable term down. X is greater than or equal to 2. So in this case, on my number line, because it's greater than or equal to, when I draw my circle needs to be filled in. Because 2 is a possible answer, I'm going to draw my arrow the direction that my inequality is going. All right, so let's look at this next problem. This next problem brings in our special rule for inequalities only. And so when we get there, I'm going to talk about it. But again, our first step is we've got to find our constant. Our constant is the number all by itself with no variable. I need to flip the sign. What I do to one side, I must do to the other side. My 2's cancel. I need to bring down my variable term. Negative 3x is greater than, and then I'm going to do the math. Negative 42 plus 2. I'm going to redraw my negative. And anytime I have a negative plus a number, I'm just going to subtract, which gets me 42. So when I have an inequality and my coefficient is negative, I have to follow a special rule, and I have to follow a different rule than regular equations. So our rule is that when we multiply or we divide by a negative number, I have to flip the inequality. So here in the problem, the original problem, my inequality is greater than. Once I divide by negative 3, my inequality has to become less than. My 3's cancel. I have two negative numbers being divided by. When I divide by two negative numbers, the negatives cancel and become positive. And my 3 will go into 4 once. I'm left with 12. 3 goes into 12 4 times. So x is less than 14. So again, because it's less than, I would use a empty circle, and then I would draw my arrow the same direction that my inequality is facing. All right, so we've got one more problem that we need to work on. So again, first and foremost, we have to find our constant term, which is our term all by itself. I need to switch the sign. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. My 10s are going to cancel. I need to bring my variable term down. And then I need to rewrite my inequality sign. So a negative 14 plus 10 is going to become a negative 4. So again, I've got a special rule. When my coefficient is negative, like my negative 2, I have to flip the inequality sign when I multiply or divide. So my 2's are going to cancel. I'm going to bring down my variable term. So n is greater than or equal to, because I had to flip my inequality sign. I have two negatives on my division, so it's going to become positive. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. So I have a positive 2. Now there's one small minor thing. We always want our variable on the left side. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to flip the equation. So I'm going to write my n first. And when I switch the sides of the n, I also have to switch the sides of the inequality. So n becomes less than or equal to 2, which is the same thing as 2 being greater than or equal to n. And that's it.